A single tablespoon of beluga caviar costs $250. The fish that produced it has not changed in 180 million years. It predates the dinosaurs. A female beluga sturgeon takes 20 years to mature. She can grow to 26 feet long and weigh 1,800 pounds. After 2 decades of feeding her, a farmer sedates her, removes the eggs, salts them by hand, and seals them in a tin. That tin holds about 30 grams. All of it is gone in 3 bites. And yet 140 years ago, the same eggs sat in wooden bowls on the counter of every bar in New York, free, beside the beer, like peanuts. How did the world's cheapest bar snack become its most expensive food? In the 1880s, a bartender on the Lower East Side would set out a plate of dark, salty fish eggs next to the bread and pickles. Nobody ordered them. They were just there. The salt made men thirsty. Thirsty men bought more beer. Nobody called them caviar. They called them sturgeon eggs. And they were everywhere, because the Hudson, the Delaware, and the Great Lakes were full of sturgeon. A German immigrant named Bendix Blom saw what no one else did. In 1852, he set up a processing operation along the Delaware River. By 1870, barrels of American caviar were shipping to Hamburg. A town called Caviar appeared on the map, complete with a post office and a rail line. 15 train cars of Sturgeon Row left its docks every day. By 1895, America produced more caviar than Russia. The Delaware River yielded 7 million pounds of sturgeon in 1887. Eggs that bartenders gave away were selling to European royalty at prices that doubled each decade. A keg cost $9 in 1885, $100 15 years later. Then the fish ran out, 20,000 pounds in 1905, 400 by 1989. The sturgeon did not decline slowly, they collapsed. Modern caviar begins with a wait. A sturgeon egg cannot be rushed. Depending on the species, a female needs between 7 and 20 years to reach sexual maturity. A beluga takes the longest. An osetra needs 10 to 12. A sevruga, the smallest of the 3 Caspian species, matures in 7. During those years, the fish lives in temperature-controlled ponds or tanks on aquaculture farms, fed a high-protein diet adjusted to each growth stage. Water quality is tested daily. One infection can destroy a decade of investment. When the fish approaches maturity, farmers begin testing. Ultrasound scans reveal the size and density of the egg sacs inside the belly cavity. If the eggs look promising, a biopsy confirms their stage. The timing must be precise. Harvest too early, and the eggs are soft, tasteless. Too late, and they over-ripen, losing the firm pop that defines good caviar. On harvest day, the sturgeon is cooled in ice water to slow its metabolism. In the traditional method, the fish is killed. The belly is opened, and the 2 ovarian sacs are lifted out by hand. Each sac can weigh 10 to 15% of the fish's body weight. A mature beluga can yield 20 pounds of eggs. The sacs are placed on a stainless steel mesh screen. A worker gently rubs them across the surface to separate the individual eggs from the membrane. This step requires calibrated pressure. Too firm, and the eggs burst. Too light, and the membrane stays attached. After separation, the eggs are rinsed in cold, purified water and inspected with tweezers. Broken eggs, membrane fragments, and discolored pearls are removed one by one. Grading happens by sight. A master grader evaluates color, size, and firmness. Beluga eggs are the largest, smoky gray, and the most fragile. Osetra eggs are medium-sized, ranging from golden to dark brown, with a nutty flavor. Sevruga are the smallest and most intensely flavored. Within each species, eggs are sorted into grades. The highest grade is labeled 000, large, uniform, firm, with a consistent color. Then comes salt. The finest caviar is processed malosol, a Russian word meaning lightly salted. The salt content stays below 3%. A master salter weighs the eggs, calculates the precise salt ratio, and mixes by hand. Too much salt masks the flavor and hardens the texture. Too little, and the eggs spoil within days. The salted eggs rest for 5 to 15 minutes, absorbing the brine. Then they are packed into tins, pressed gently to remove air, sealed, and stored at -3 degrees Celsius. Maturation follows. Osetra caviar matures for up to 14 months. During this period, the natural oil distributes evenly through the eggs, flavors deepen, and the texture develops the signature burst when pressed against the roof of the mouth. The entire process, from hatching the fish to opening the tin, can span a decade or more. The global caviar market was worth $430 million in 2018. Iran once controlled 90% of wild production from the Caspian Sea. Today, wild sturgeon are critically endangered and farmed caviar dominates. China produces 65% of the world's supply, nearly 40 metric tons per year. Italy follows with 30, France with 25. A food that bartenders gave away now sells for $5,000 to $40,000 per kilogram. What changed was not the flavor, it was the fish count. Spam took the opposite path, from ration to status symbol in Korea. But caviar is the original template. Abundance creates indifference. Scarcity creates desire. But scarcity alone did not create the price. The label did. At the peak of American production, exporters shipped barrels of Delaware River caviar to Europe. European dealers repackaged it and sold it as Russian at 10 times the markup. The same eggs that sat free on a New York bar counter were served on silver platters in Paris, stamped with a Russian label. Then something stranger happened. That relabeled American caviar shipped back across the Atlantic and sold to Americans as a premium Russian import. In 1900, an estimated 90% of the caviar Americans bought as Russian originated in their own rivers. They paid luxury prices for their own product, returned in a different tin. The sturgeon collapsed not because people ate more caviar, it collapsed because two continents discovered they could sell the same eggs back and forth, doubling the price each time until there were no eggs left. The sturgeon is the oldest commercial fish on Earth. Its fossil record stretches back 180 million years. It survived every extinction event that killed the dinosaurs, outlived ice ages, adapted to both salt and fresh water. Then it met the global supply chain, and within 50 years, nearly every wild population was gone. What remains is an inversion. The fish that filled American rivers now lives in concrete tanks in Brescia and Zhejiang, monitored by ultrasound and fed by algorithm. The eggs that bartenders scooped onto bread now arrive in refrigerated tins stamped with holographic seals. Every luxury has an origin story, and most of them are ordinary. Lobster was prison food. Champagne was a winemaking accident. Caviar was a bar snack. The distance between ordinary and extraordinary is not quality. It is time and the memory of what we lost. Next time someone places a tin in front of you, you are not looking at luxury. You are looking at the last echo of a river that used to be full. 20 years to grow the fish. 3 bites to empty the tin. Lobster went through the same arc. Prison food to fine dining. That transformation took a single train ride. That's the process. We reveal how things actually work, one story at a time. If there's something you'd like us to explore next, let us know. Until then, trust the process.